Fuji was a certified loser. No cap. The kind who comes home, throws his bag on the floor, and spends the next 4 hours watching anime recap videos on anirecap God YouTube channel because committing to an actual 24-episode series requires a level of discipline he simply does not possess. But then God decided to slide the most adorable, confusingly depressed girl in the entire country right into the apartment next door. And somehow, with Riz that had been collecting dust since birth, this man managed to pull her out of her depression arc. Now she's down bad for him and giving him all the happiness he never had. Drop a comment right now if you think Fuji deserved any of this. It starts on an ordinary school day. Fuji is heading home, doing his usual routine of existing in public as minimally as possible, when he takes a side street and spots something that stops him in his tracks. There's a girl sitting alone on the side of the road in the rain crying. Now most people's instinct here is to help. Fuji's instinct is to walk past, because he is, as established, a loser with the social awareness of a potted plant. But here's the thing about Fuji underneath all that loser energy. There's actually a decent person in there. He sees her crying and something shifts. He can't just leave her there. So he walks over, pops his umbrella over her head, and then, and this is the move, the actual move, he just hands her the umbrella. Doesn't ask for her name. Doesn't try to start a conversation. Just gives her his only umbrella, tells her not to get sick, and walks off into the rain like an absolute idiot. Romantic? Yes. Smart? Absolutely not. Because Fuji has now donated his rain protection to a stranger and has to walk the rest of the way home in a downpour. Which, as you can predict, does not end well for him. Next day at school, Fuji's friend Itsuki, the only human being on Earth who voluntarily chooses to be near Fuji, immediately notices something's wrong. And by notices something's wrong, I mean Fuji is sitting there sweating, sneezing, and radiating the energy of a man who has made several poor decisions in the last 12 hours. Full winter fever. The umbrella karma has arrived. But before Itsuki can fully process the state of his friend, something happens. The classroom door opens, and in walks Sheena. When Sheena walks into a room, the entire energy shifts. The girl is, to put it plainly, stupidly good-looking. Like the kind of good-looking where the whole class just collectively forgets what they were doing. And on top of that, she's not just pretty, she's the school's top student. #1 ranked every single year, without fail. She's the kind of girl who makes everyone else feel like they've been wasting their potential. Which, honestly, they have been. Fuji, feverish and barely functional, watches all of this from his desk and thinks to himself, there is no way that girl is the same crying person from yesterday. Because in his brain, someone who looks like that and achieves like that cannot possibly be depressed. And just like that, he files it away and moves on. That afternoon, Fuji is heading home when he runs directly into Sheena. She tracked him down to return his umbrella. Fuji, whose cold has gotten significantly worse, barely registers this and just heads inside without properly acknowledging her. Then Sheena sees his apartment. Disaster zone. She also sees him clearly feverish, clearly not okay. She makes a decision without being asked and stays to take care of him. Later, Fuji finds out she lives in the apartment right next door. She has been his neighbor this whole time and they had never spoken. He wakes up that night to find her still there, and she's made warm porridge for him so he can recover faster. Fuji, trying to process the situation, asks whether her boyfriend would have a problem with her being in a guy's apartment she barely knows. Sheena tells him she has never had a boyfriend. Not once. Fuji files this information away and says thank you. She leaves. He stares at the ceiling. Next day at school, Itsuki points out that Fuji already looks better than he did yesterday. That afternoon, Fuji is eating instant noodles at home, his standard meal, when Sheena appears and tells him that diet is going to destroy him nutritionally. She then pulls out a full homemade meal she brought as a thank you for the umbrella situation. Fuji eats it, and it is genuinely the best thing he has consumed in recent memory. Then the next day she brings another one. Then the day after that. Then the day after that. It becomes a daily thing without either of them officially deciding it would be. Itsuki starts noticing at school that Fuji's face looks fuller and healthier and generally less tragic than usual. Meanwhile, Fuji runs into Shina at the grocery store one afternoon and watches her carefully selecting only the cheapest available ingredients. She explains she doesn't want to burden her parents financially. Fuji notes this and says nothing. One afternoon, Shina comes to collect her food containers from Fuji's apartment and finds him in the middle of cleaning. The place is a genuine archaeological site of mess, and he's attempting to excavate it. Shina, without being asked, rolls up her sleeves and helps. They spend the afternoon cleaning together, and by the time they finish, it's evening. Fuji, feeling like he should do something in return, had ordered pizza earlier and invites her to eat with him. He watches her eat with the enthusiasm of someone who hasn't had food like this in a while and quietly connects the dots about those cheap grocery purchases. A few days later, Fuji notices Shina walking with a visible limp. He investigates and finds out she sprained her ankle trying to rescue a cat. He buys bandages immediately and patches her up. Then, because the injury makes walking uncomfortable, he gives her a piggyback ride home. Shina, sitting on his back trying to hold it together, says her ankle already feels better. She then gives him a full home-cooked meal as a thank you for the piggyback situation. At this point, the gratitude exchange economy between these two is getting complicated. Then Shina makes a proposal going forward. She will cook for him every day, and he just covers the ingredient costs. Her reasoning is that she genuinely cannot watch him eat instant noodles indefinitely without developing a stress condition. Fuji agrees. The arrangement is made. From that point on, Shina cooks in his kitchen regularly, and Fuji, sitting at his table watching her move around his space like she belongs there, starts experiencing a feeling he doesn't have a name for yet. Something about it gives off very strong. This is what married life looks like energy, and Fuji is not prepared for that thought to exist in his brain. School exams happen. Everyone survives. Itsuki's girlfriend Chidos appears cheerful, nosy, exactly the kind of person who will immediately notice everything. Life continues. Shina keeps showing up. Fuji keeps pretending this is just a practical arrangement. One day, Fuji notices Shina left her student ID behind when she headed out. He grabs it to return it and spots her birthday listed on the card. It's coming up in a few days. He says nothing to her and immediately goes to Itsuki the next day asking for gift advice. Itsuki provides suggestions. Fuji is not satisfied. He then asks Chidos. Chidos says get something cute that will make her smile. Fuji is still not satisfied. He ends up dragging both of them to help him shop in person. After a full dedicated search mission, he finds something. He gives it to Shina at home. She is genuinely shocked, not just happy, but deeply moved, and tells him that in her entire life, he is the only person who has ever given her a birthday gift. Fuji does not know what to do with that information, so he just stands there. Then one morning, Fuji's mom shows up unannounced for a visit. Fuji panics immediately because Shina is currently inside his apartment. His mom walks in, looks at Fuji, and immediately notices he looks healthier, fuller, and notably less miserable than the last time she saw him. She starts inspecting the apartment. She checks the bedroom. Shina, who is trying to hide, is asleep in there. Fuji's mom finds a beautiful girl asleep in her son's bedroom and arrives at the most logical conclusion available to a Japanese mother. Fuji and Shina spend several minutes explaining that they are neighbors and cooking partners and absolutely nothing else. Fuji's mom listens politely, does not believe them at all, and asks Shina to please keep taking care of her son because he is her only child and she loves him very much. She leaves still fully convinced they are dating. Some battles cannot be won. After she leaves, Shina tells Fuji quietly that he is very lucky to have a family that loves him like that. Something in the way she says it lands differently than the words suggest. Fuji gives her his spare key before she goes home that evening, tells her she doesn't need to return it because he trusts her completely. Shina holds the key and feels something she hasn't felt in a long time. Back at school, Fuji and Itsuki watch Sheena maintain her first place, ranking effortlessly, while also cooking for someone every day. Fuji comes home that evening and gives her a cake. He ordered a proper expensive one as recognition. Sheena has apparently never eaten expensive food before, and her reaction makes it seem like he handed her a religious experience. Then she does something unexpected. She takes a spoonful and feeds it to him first. Fuji accepts it. Then Fuji feeds her back. They spend the evening doing this in a way that is technically just eating cake, but is also one of the most romantic things either of them has experienced. Sheena admits out loud that she's embarrassed because nobody has ever been this romantic with her, and she doesn't know what to do with it. Neither does Fuji. They keep feeding each other cake anyway. Next day, Fuji buys ingredients to try learning to cook himself. His attempt is visually troubling. Sheena watches it reach a certain point of no return and quietly makes fried rice instead, presenting it to him as an appreciation gift for all his effort and general kindness. The actual cooking attempt gets a respectful burial. Chidos and Itsuki find out about the cooking arrangement and want to throw a party at Fuji's place. Fuji explains the situation. They come over, spot Sheena through the balcony window in the next apartment, and immediately start drawing conclusions. Fuji and Sheena explain the neighbor and cooking partner situation. Chidos and Itsuki listen carefully and believe approximately none of it. They accept the explanation officially while privately maintaining their theory completely. Fuji asks them to be patient with Sheena because she's not comfortable with new people. Chidos takes this as a challenge and immediately tells Sheena she wants to be friends. Somehow it works. After they leave, Fuji apologizes for his friends being a lot. Sheena says she's genuinely happy she now has new friends because of him. Outside it's snowing. Sheena asks him to wait a moment, disappears, and comes back with warm soup she had been making. They eat it together by the window watching the snow fall. Fuji asks how she got this good at cooking. She says she started when she was very young. She doesn't say why yet. After dinner, Sheena wants to play video games. She is immediately terrible at them. Fuji teaches her. In the process of teaching her, they end up sitting close enough that both of them become very aware of the distance or lack of it between them and choose not to address this out loud. Sheena eventually finishes one game through sheer determination. Fuji gives her another gift for completing it. Then Sheena mentions that Fuji's mom has been sending her childhood photos of him all morning. She lifts his hair to compare the photos and goes quiet. Looking at his face properly, she tells him he's actually handsome. Not as handsome as your narrator obviously, but objectively solid. Sheena immediately changes the subject and gives him a wool scarf she bought for the Christmas season. Then she invites him outside to look at the stars together. Next morning, Fuji notices Sheena looks paler than usual. He checks she has a serious winter fever. He carries her to his room, tucks her in, and takes care of her for the day. She grabs his hand when he tries to leave and tells him she just wants him to stay nearby. He stays. By morning, her fever has broken. New Year's Eve arrives. They decide to celebrate quietly at home with hot chocolate. While Fuji is texting his parents, he looks over and Sheena has fallen asleep against him. He looks at her for a moment. Then his conscience, which is apparently strong, kicks in and he carries her to bed properly so she can sleep comfortably. He spends the night on the sofa. In the morning, he goes to check on her and reaches out to touch her face. She wakes up mid-reach and immediately turns red because she understood exactly what was about to happen. Fuji explains she fell asleep on him and he put her to bed and slept on the sofa. Sheena is relieved and embarrassed simultaneously. Then Fuji's parents both show up for New Year's. Sheena greets them immediately and warmly. Fuji's dad tells Sheena she's lucky to be friends with his son because Fuji is one of the most genuinely caring people he knows. They all go to the New Year's temple festival together. Fuji sees Sheena in a kimono and needs a moment to locate all of his words. She sees him dressed up and tells him he looks better than usual. At the festival, they hold hands so they don't get separated in the crowd and stay holding hands after the crowd thins out because neither of them brings it up. At the food stalls, Fuji says he wants to try Shina's soup. Shina hesitates and goes red. Fuji doesn't immediately understand why. Then he understands why. Eating from the same spoon is essentially an indirect kiss, and he just requested it casually in front of his parents. Shina is flustered for the rest of the evening. Walking home, Fuji pats her head and thanks her for celebrating with his family. She says goodnight and leaves quickly because her face is not recoverable at this point. Next morning, his parents head home early for work. Shina immediately starts making breakfast. Back at school, a rumor starts circulating that Shina was spotted on a date with a mysterious guy. Nobody has connected it to Fuji yet, but the clock is ticking. Both of them get quietly anxious about their daily situation getting exposed because the school's reaction to the most popular student having a cooking arrangement with the most invisible guy would be significant. Valentine's Day approaches. Chidos goes around asking everyone what kind of chocolate they want. Fuji, who has never received Valentine's chocolate in his life, cannot answer the question because he has no reference point. Chidos then asks Shina if she plans to give chocolate to anyone. Shina says she's never made Valentine's chocolate before. The day arrives. Every girl in school is competing to give chocolate to a popular guy named Yuta. Fuji and Itsuki watch this with the energy of men who have accepted their position in the social hierarchy. Itsuki asks if Shina made anything for Fuji. Fuji says he didn't see any signs of preparation. That evening, Fuji helps Yuta carry the mountain of chocolate he received because the guy is physically struggling with the volume. He comes home. Shina is waiting with a cup of warm hot chocolate, but she looks anxious about something and leaves before he can ask. At the door, he finds a wrapped package. Inside, multiple chocolates she made specifically to match his flavor preferences, sour and sweet. Exactly right. She paid attention. She remembered. He stands there holding them for a while. Next day at school, Yuta approaches Fuji and thanks him for the help and asks to be friends. Itsuki tells Fuji that he's starting to look like a completely different person from last semester. More people are coming toward him. His energy is different. Fuji goes home and finds Shina waiting, wanting to know how he felt about the chocolates. She also asks about his birthday and finds out it already passed weeks ago without anyone celebrating it. She is visibly offended on his behalf and declares that next year she is personally handling it. White Day comes. Fuji buys her a bracelet. She is genuinely happy. She asks him to put it on her wrist. He does. She smiles at him with the full force of her actual smile, and he goes completely still. Months pass. Spring arrives. Shina notices Fuji has put on healthy weight and is looking properly well fed. Fuji walks into his apartment and watches her moving around his space and thinks she looks exactly like someone's wife right now. He immediately shuts that thought down. Itsuki has a fight with his dad and needs somewhere to sleep. He shows up at Fuji's. Shina, encountering a guest, immediately goes into full production mode, making food for everyone. Spring food, generous portions, warm energy. That night after dinner, Itsuki tells Fuji directly, "Stop pretending you don't have feelings. Shina trusts you completely. You can see it. Just be honest." Fuji lies in the dark thinking about this. Chidos comes over because Itsuki is here and she's not missing spring break. The four of them spend days together telling stories and eating well and being loud in a small apartment. Then Itsuki and Chidos go home. Fuji and Shina are alone again. Shina gets a text from someone and goes quiet in a way she tries to hide. Fuji notices. A few days later, coming home from shopping, Fuji sees a woman on the street saying something harsh to Shina. He steps in. When the woman leaves, Shina tells him that was her mother. Fuji pulls her inside and tells her to tell him everything. And she does. Her parents never actually wanted children. Their marriage was purely financial, arranged for inheritance purposes. She was an unplanned result of a moment they clearly regret. She grew up without warmth from either of them, in a house where she was tolerated rather than loved. That's why she worked so hard to be perfect, top grades, every achievement, hoping that one day her performance would be enough to make them look at her like she mattered. She eventually understood it never would be. Sheena cries on Fuji's shoulder. Actually cries, not the composed kind, the kind that comes out when someone finally feels safe enough to let it. Fuji lets her. When she's done, he tells her clearly she doesn't need to worry anymore. His friends, his family, he himself, all of them will take everything she is, the parts she's proud of and the parts she isn't. Later, calmer, she asks if they can walk outside for a bit. They end up under cherry blossom trees. She leans into him under the petals and cannot stop herself from hugging him. He lets her. Next day, she asks to touch his hair and gets him to rest his head in her lap while she runs her fingers through it. She asks how he actually feels at school, managing the distance between them there since she's popular and he's not. He says it's a little hard. She gets quietly frustrated because she doesn't want any distance between them anywhere. While she's talking, Fuji falls asleep in her lap and stays there for a full hour. He wakes up embarrassed. She tells him his face is still handsome, even when he's completely unconscious. He doesn't know what to do with that. They go out for tamago, a Japanese egg dish she was craving. Walking back, eating, Fuji tells her outright that his life has been genuinely better since she showed up. Better food, better energy, better everything. Sheena goes red and cannot look directly at him. Summer vacation arrives. Fuji is bored at home. Sheena tells him they're going on a date tomorrow. He stares at her. She looks back. He agrees. They go to a cat cafe surrounded by cats, both of them completely in their element, genuinely happy in a way that's embarrassingly obvious. Then shopping at the mall, where several girls try to approach Fuji and Sheena physically steers him away from each one with zero subtlety. Yuta runs into them sitting together and Sheena explains they're just neighbors on summer break. She and Fuji both ask Yuta to keep what he saw to himself. Walking home, Fuji notices Sheena hiding her phone. He asks what's on it. She admits it's old childhood photos of him that his mom sent. He tries to take the phone back. He reaches for it, loses his balance, and falls, landing face to face with her, close enough that both of them go completely still. Neither of them moves. The moment stretches. That night, Fuji has a dream where Sheena suggests they stay in for the evening and do absolutely nothing productive. He wakes up. He stares at the ceiling for a long time. He decides he needs to be more careful about proximity for a while, for everyone's safety. Semester continues. Fuji works hard and ranks 6th in his class. He comes home. Sheena has made food and announces his reward. She is going to clean his ears for him. This is either the most domestic thing that has ever happened or the most intimate, depending on how you look at it. It is relaxing enough that they both fall asleep mid-process. He wakes up, she's asleep beside him, and he carries her carefully to the couch rather than wake her. One evening they're sitting together at home and Fuji asks what kind of person she likes. Sheena thinks about it and says someone kind, cool, and genuinely understanding. Then she says the only person who fits that description that she's actually met is him. Fuji starts to deflect. Sheena leans over and kisses him, then immediately gets up and walks into her apartment. Fuji sits there. His brain requires a full reboot. At school the next day, every single one of his friends tells him the same thing: make your move before someone else does. When he gets home, Sheena is waiting and apologizes for leaving without explanation after the kiss. She explains she panicked. He listens. A few days later at school during gym class, a group of students comes to find Fuji and make it clear they're not happy about his growing closeness with Sheena. Before Fuji can respond, Sheena walks over. She looks at the group and tells them clearly Fuji is different from anyone else she's met. His face might be unremarkable, and he might seem low energy, but he is genuinely one of the best people she has ever known. The group disperses. That evening at home, sitting together in the quiet, Fuji tells her He says it directly, he's in love with her, not as a neighbor or a cooking partner, but as the person he wants to be with. Sheena looks at him. She says she's already decided she wants to be his girlfriend now, and when they graduate high school, she wants to be his wife. And then they had their Netflix and chill evening. Finally, stay locked in on Anirecap God for what comes next.